Being the first female in Africa to be a leader in the cybersecurity space is not a small feat.
Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, my name is Omon Odike and you're watching Omon Scout. Please keep watching.
Welcome to another episode of Omon Scout. Our guest today has over a decade of experience in the technology industry. She's Africa's most celebrated female cybersecurity leader, talent developer, global speaker, cybersecurity awareness evangelist, and inclusion advocate. She's the founder and executive director of CyberSafe Foundation, a leading non-governmental organization dedicated to improving the inclusive and safe digital access in Africa. She is Confidence Staveley, popularly called Sisi Nerd. Hey!
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here.
It's my pleasure also.
You look amazing.
Thank you. And you too. Look at you.
Thank you.
You're giving us your run.
Not at all. Not at all. So how have you been?
Excellent.
Nice to have you. So Confidence, why do they call you Sisi Nerd? Another name you have also been called is the relatable cybersecurity queen.
Yes.
So please, can you explain to the viewers what those names mean?
Okay, so first and foremost, the Sisi Nerd part of things. I mean, when you think about a woman in tech, the stereotype has it that, you have to be a tomboy, you have to be masculine. Yeah. And really, I've been there, to be honest. I had a phase in my life where I only wanted to wear overalls, just really big clothes. Okay. Then I went into my element. No, I think I just loved it, but I went off that phase and I just came into this being fully my feminine energy. You get what I mean? Yeah. So I really wanted to project that strongly with that name, Sisi Nerd. So I am a Sisi, and in Lagos, Sisi is like a lady, and I'm also a nerd because when you come to what I do for a living, it's tech, it's core, it's technical. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to show the possibility that you don't need to fit a box or a stereotype. You get what I mean? You can be who you are and fully expressive in whatever you do. So that's where Sisi Nerd is coming from. So if you go to my Instagram, I'm very much a lady. Yes. And if you go to where I'm offering my services, I'm very offering with so much competence. You get what I mean? So the other side of things, which is the relatable cybersecurity leader, my industry is known for a lot of jargon. Okay. We are supposed to be talking to people who are non-technical so that they can do the right things to keep our systems secure and they can make the right decisions. But we have found out, or I have found out over time, that we tend to talk like we're talking to ourselves. And use those jargons. And there's no connection. And people can take the right actions to stay protected. Businesses can make the right decisions to stay protected. So I took on my communication skills and really honed them to be able to speak to people that don't exist in my industry so they can relate with the things I am trying to teach them. So it became very fluid. I was using methods that were not used before. For example, I was using Instagram Reels. Things that were never used before. I was using short,
I think I saw that.
Yes.
It doesn't look like it.
Exactly.
It's like a very relatable page.
Yes.
About technology, but
it's very, and people can see themselves in those situations. So for me, that was where people were like, oh, that's very relatable. Oh, that's very relatable. I can see myself there. They can understand it. Yeah.
Interesting. Well done.
Thank you.
So again, you've earned the accolades of being the first African woman to become the finalist for the Cybersecurity of the Year award. What an amazing achievement. How did you achieve this?
Thank you so much. So, Cybersecurity One of the Year award is one that is celebrated in Vegas. There's a lot of pomp and pageantry around it. But really the African women, were really on that stage, on the scale that I came out to be. And to be very honest with you, it was one of those moments where doing the work and talking about the work really became very important. I know as women, a lot of times we are tempted to think our work will speak for itself. That's the biggest lie they've told us. Yeah. And I've also found in the workplace, generally speaking, men are more likely to talk about their work and stay visible. But I've learned, and just be humble about. I'm quiet about it, and I think that's why I'm mistaking humility with owning your power. So for me, what I wanted to do is consistently really project myself, stay visible. People need to see what I'm doing, and generally speaking, it does help my work. So I started to share.
Did you have that feeling or idea from the beginning to project yourself at all times?
I didn't
always have that.
No, I didn't always.
You learned.
I had to learn it because for me also, I think it's a challenge for most women. You feel like you're bragging. Right? Yeah. In most sense, you feel like you're bragging. But what I do to solve that is I tell myself that this visibility is for someone else. So when I'm visible, more people are able to take action. More young girls are able to see that this is possible. And that representation does matter. So I do it for that purpose. I also think about it that if I'm not visible, there are people who need the solutions I'm able to offer will not get them right, or get them from someone who will charge them too much, or get subpar services. So all of that mindset of me being visible for other people helps me think about it away from myself, which helps me actually speak about my work.
So that means you actually really have to consciously talk to yourself continuously to project yourself.
Exactly.
And I think it's a problem for women.
It is.
Is that a problem? Because it's not like once you have talked to yourself the first time, it's going to work for every other situation.
No.
You actually actively
especially when somebody calls you out, they're like, oh my God, or someone says something negative. I feel like, oh my God.
Oh, negative in what sense?
Oh, I mean, I've been harassed online for several reasons. On my own socials. No, not my skills. One, I mean, that side of things is there. Like generally speaking, because I'm a woman, people tend to underestimate me.
Oh,
yes, people.
They understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't understand why somebody will insult you.
No, that side of things is there, but there's underestimating, which I believe now the way I'm dealing with it is a gift. Yeah. If people underestimate you, it means that you would definitely overperform. Yeah, so you're just lowering the bar, by doing that. But generally speaking, my stance most times around really promoting women and women coming into my industry. Right now, women make up 9% of the cybersecurity workforce in Africa, even if we make up 50% of the population, and that's a far cry from the rest of the world. The rest of the world is screaming, and saying, oh, we're only 25%.
Outside the country is about 20,
25, right? And people are making a lot of noise. And I said, you know what, you guys are at 25. Come to Africa, we are 9%. So I, generally speaking, from that perspective, have been really passionate about doing things for women, advocating for women, and I get bashed. Often I get bashed by people like, oh, why are you not providing that for everybody? Why does it always have to be women? Is it because you're a woman? And I'm like, these stats speak for themselves. And at this point, I don't respond anymore.
You're doing a good job for us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
So now, a lot of viewers may not even understand cybersecurity. I'm not saying you should define it, but let them understand. Just break it down. Like something that would interest a young lady listening to you today, why she will want to go into cybersecurity. So just talk to them about what it means, what it's all about. Then use that to create your journey. I want to hear your journey. How did you start this whole idea of I want to be a cybersecurity expert to what you've become today? So let's hear your story from the beginning.
Okay, so Omon, just what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my relatable crown here, wear it.
No problem.
So let's imagine you're in a house, right? If you had a house, you would have a door. You will close the door. You will lock the door if you're going out, and you take the key away with you. Your house will most likely also have a fence. Some people don't stop at it having a fence. They will put some, wiring on top of it, burglar proof. Yeah. They'll put some bottles for some kind of houses. So if you're trying to scale the fence,
electric fence,
exactly, all of that, you have a security man at the gate, and you won't get one that's sickly. You get one that at least would be able to, defend the house. Why do you do all of that? You're protecting your house and the valuable assets in your house. So think about that in the digital space. We have the physical world and we have the digital world. Increasingly, the digital world is even
very significant,
even as important as the physical world. So what cybersecurity professionals do is we build defenses. the fences that I spoke about. We build the doors. We make sure the keys are locked well. The keys are keys that you can't get another random key and break in. All of those levels of security are implemented by cybersecurity professionals. So when you imagine the doors of this world, you imagine the fences, you imagine the security men, you imagine whatever weaponry they would have to make sure they wade away bad guys. That's what we do in the online space as well, cybersecurity professionals. So if you come into the space, what you'll be doing is you're going to be defending today's civilization. And I say it in that context because today's civilization, because everything around us now is just on technology. People were making fun about the elections and saying, how are we still voting in buckets? Because they were expecting they're going to do, everything is going to be digital. So that means even choosing our leaders is really resting on the shoulder of technology, which is what civilization is. We're going to banks these days. I don't know who goes to the banking halls. We do it virtually. So the one thing that's protecting and is keeping that civilization together is cybersecurity.
Interesting. You haven't answered my question.
Oh yeah.
How did you start the journey?
Okay, so it all started not because I sat back and said, "Oh my God, I want to be a cybersecurity professional." I didn't even sit back and say I want to be in technology. This is how it happened. I had always been sold the dream of being a medical doctor so long by my parents that I thought it was my dream. So I bought it up until when I had finished secondary school. People are calling it high school, because I don't know where this video is going to be seen from. And there was a gap year. My parents asked me to take a gap year. In retrospect, I think my parents couldn't exactly afford for me to immediately go into university, so they wanted to save a bit. I mean, as a parent now, I'm trying to think about what you would, So, and then in that gap year, they're like, don't while away time at home. Devil's an idle person,
the devil's workshop.
So they say, go to that computer school. The computer school was a place I got exposed to using computers for the first time. I wrote a program for the first time in C#. I learned how to program in Java. I felt alive. I felt like I found a part of me. That was my first experience with technology. So I didn't know how to tell my parents. And just to give you some context as well, neither of my parents are graduates from university, so there was also the issue of limited education. We didn't have anybody around us that had gone this route, like technology, going to build its career in technology. But we had people that are medical doctors that you could see, and so this person has been successful, So I had to sit back and find the strength to go and teach. So good thing, being a parent now, I really think my parents were very courageous to allow me, to take a risk. So what I did was, I didn't have a computer still at the time to be able to do a pitch to my parents, because I would have done a PowerPoint presentation. So I bought cardboard papers and I made my slides on cardboard, and I basically pitched to them that I had to pitch to them that, okay, this is the route I want to do. Technology is the future and the present, and that it made me feel alive. I was very happy. My parents didn't exactly understand what I was saying, but my mom always says something that you can't outperform a passionate person. So they could tell that I was very passionate. So she said, you know what, my mother and my dad came back, you can go. Because at that time, my admission also for medical school had come in, but I didn't want to go. So we had to forfeit that. I didn't go to medical school. So I did an advanced diploma in software engineering. I got a scholarship to do a bachelor's in IT and business information systems. I went ahead to do that, came out with the first class. Yes. The government of the day that sponsored me. I loved it. Came back and said, you can go back and do a master's. So I did a master's in IT management. It was during my master's that I took an elective called cryptography. Yeah, so I looked at all my electives. Yeah, so you spoke about encryption earlier.
Yes, I did.
The technology behind encryption is cryptography.
Yeah. Just for the word,
Yeah. So it was in that elective. I looked around. What are my choices? The choices that were there were not challenging enough. There were things I'd already done in my first degree, and for me, challenges are fuel for me. They all keep me alive. So I said, this cryptography. They're like, It's very tough. It's engineering department that takes it. And we're like, the people in that place, you don't have two heads.
Exactly.
It's one head. Okay, let me go. So I was there. I was like the only girl in that class,
Well, did you have it obviously outside the country?
Outside the country, I was the only lead in the class and everything. But I did well, and that was it. From cryptography, I knew I wanted to really delve more into the world of cybersecurity. Good thing was my lecturer at the time for that cryptography course was also a cybersecurity professional. So from there on, I pitched to him to also mentor me. Right now, he's leading the UK's Research Institute for Cyber. He recently just got an MBE award from the Monarch. He's grown as I have grown as well. But he mentored me, and I came out. Started. He was providing the guide on what to study and all of that. I got my first job after a bit of self-studying. Yes, I got some form of mentorship. I mean, in retrospect, he is a man, and there's some things that I feel like if it was a female mentor I got, there were some hurdles that I may not have had to go through that, I struggled with a bit. So that's why also I'm very keen on finding more female mentors to actually help young girls.
Interesting. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Being the first female in Africa to be a leader in the cybersecurity space is not a small feat.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
Thank you.
So now, all through your career, all through the business, I know you have the foundation that you're actually empowering with other women to become cybersecurity experts. What challenges have you faced? What are those issues that you have seen? Those hurdles you've had to cross? So you could tell us more about it so that people know that it's not only the nice parts, but all these other parts that they need to overcome to stay in this field.
One of my greatest challenges was funding initially.
Funding?
Yeah. Cybersecurity certifications are very expensive.
For the
certifications themselves. So I had to, over time, prove myself, find creative ways to show value. So one of the key ways I was able to do that is I did a lot of projects. This was the tough way to show yourself, but it really helped me as well. Because then I would set up my home project, I would set up my home lab, create projects to demonstrate what I could deliver as value to employers, and I would do that for a couple of projects and have it on my resume. So since I didn't have the sets in their multitudes to back up, now it's different, right? I didn't have the sets to back up my claim of knowing this and that and having to do that. So I had to then create this portfolio or body of work, that shows that I'm competent. I think it helped me also.
I'm sure accelerate your.
Yeah, it did accelerate, and even my confidence as well. My technical confidence as well, because there are things that I've encountered in my home lab that I can always identify, where it's in a live environment and things like that. So that was also very helpful, and that's something that I also tell younger people. You may not be able to afford certifications and everything like that, but if you're able to show demonstrate other ways, because practical or applicable knowledge is always key.
Yes, and I think it's even the forefront, because when you speak it and you can't actually do it, it makes no sense.
Exactly.
Well done. Confidence. You're a global speaker. Tell me, how did you grow your brand to the point of being sought after as a speaker globally?
Thank you so much for that question.
Okay.
For me, it was just about the visibility as well that we spoke about earlier, and the gap in the industry that I spoken about as well, where a lot of people are trying to teach best practices, but it's not simplified enough. And the thing about simplification as well is that regardless of who you're speaking to or who it is that you're talking about a concept with, simpler is always better. Yeah. Think about the best brands in the world. Simple communication is always better. So, and it also does show a depth of knowledge, because not everyone can break down complex concepts into very approachable bits. So, and also the fact that I could engage audiences. A lot of times, not just having the knowledge, but being able to hold an audience was something that I found came to me naturally. So I started honing it, and then I also started putting out videos of myself, talking about different concepps. I also started, talking about maybe giving my own 2 cents or maybe current cyber issues. Okay. Yeah, I would see a news story that was broken, and people resonated with it. My takes were very good according to them, and so that was how I started getting invited. So before now, it used to be like, well, come and speak, we'll just fly you, or come and speak virtually and things like that. And after some time, I just went into paid speaking fully. So I now have.
So now, when we need you to speak,
yeah,
you have to pay
a premium.
Some $5 for them.
Yeah, so I moved on to that because I also found that it was time. For me, the cue that it was time was that I was getting so much speaking opportunities that it was affecting my day-to-day work. The payment that I was requesting became like a paywall, if I was to put it that way. So it would just allow me to only be in places where I was truly valued, and that value could be shown in terms of the exchange of another kind of value, which is money.
So we are very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Because you are talking to our viewers today, and you didn't get paid.
Well,
so this is actually a wonderful.
Thank you so much for the work you're doing as well. There's an exchange still of value, because you're doing amazing work, and it does look good on me as well to be here. To be on Omon Couch. Thank you
for really coming and staying here and
giving
us an insight on cybersecurity.
Thank you so much.
I know. All the other guests we've had, nobody's into tech so far. And yours is not just tech, but tech that is top notch.
Thank you.
And an area where very few people actually thrive, especially in Nigeria. So you're doing a great job, not just for Africa. Not just for Nigeria, but Africa and the world over. So well done.
Thank you. And I just wanted to add to that as well. There's also a stereotype, generally in Nigeria. So with all what's happening, fraud.
Oh, fraud. Okay.
Yeah. So I was at a conference last year. In Milan, I was speaking. I was a keynote speaker. I was industry keynote speaker, which means I was the high point of the event. So and during I had an encounter backstage. So I made a joke. Immediately I came on stage, and somebody picked me up on the joke. What was the joke? I said, that I'm Nigerian, but I'm not a princess, and everyone in that hall laughed. So and then later on during coverage and the question and answer session, somebody asked me, so there is that. A question that, okay, so if I am Nigerian, what do I have to say about, a lot of the other issues around fraud, yes.
Nigerians and fraud.
Yeah, so for me, I know that exists. So when I come out on those stages, I'm ready, and I'm showing you that I'm Nigerian. I'm not putting in my pocket. So for example, if I'm wearing a suit, I will most likely have a camisole that is African fabric. Okay. So you will not be mistaken. I'm wearing with pride because people need to see that the whole country isn't bad, rotten, and bad. We're not be all bad, rotten apples here. There are good people in, I would say, majority. They're just some bad apples few. That's exactly what it is. So for me, it's also been one of the
country.
Yeah, it's one of the key reasons I want to be visible as well. So there's a balanced narrative. So when you think about Nigerians, you also remember that there's a confidence Staveley, and there is another person doing, contributing to the global stage around cyber issues. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
I can't stop saying well done.
Thank
I love
you.
tech personally, but I'm not in tech, but I love it.
Thank
so
you.
How would you say you have been able to cope with being in cybersecurity, being married, having kids, and how have you been able to juggle all of it?
I like the word juggle because I don't believe in balance. Yeah, I believe in seasons. So there will be times in your life that some parts or facets of your life would take more dominance or precedence, right? While there'll be some times where that may step back a bit. So for me, it's just recognizing those seasons and going and creating an environment for me to be comfortable in that season. I'm also very big on support system. So, I don't shout this enough, but I'm married to a very supportive person. And I think this is where a lot of women also miss it a lot of times. Marriage is a partnership. Marriage, I believe, for me in my life has been the biggest career decision I have made. Not life decision, but the biggest career decision. Because the kind of career and life I run right now, if I didn't have a supportive partner, it would be a problem. And support isn't just well done. It's not just that. It's the fact that it goes beyond. It's in actions. It's in stepping up, and covering is in being able to allow me take breaks. And I need to write an exam, and that's the thing with cyber security. You still have to write, you still have to read, yourself. Constantly upskilling. There's no stopping. As the threat evolve, we need to evolve as well. So there's a need to continuously learn, and all of that requires dedication. So being able to also pause. I would say pause, but not necessarily the word pause. Allow that part to then flourish. I mean, I had a situation where I had to speak in Canada, for example. I had visa issues. I had to rush in from Abuja to Lagos. My husband was the one who brought my suitcase to the airport because I couldn't come home to pack up because of the visa issue that I had. So, I mean, that's a very typical example. Support is a verb. It's a verb. And it's not just one person, right? There has to be a clan, and this is where friendships, your clan of friends, your family, your ecosystem, because it's not just a child that needs a community to raise. A champion also still needs a community. So I'm able to have that support in many areas of my life, and I delegate a lot. I also don't believe I'm a superwoman, which means that I use a lot of help. So for me, that has also really helped me be at peace with myself, deal with mommy guilt, and again with seasons. With seasons, when I'm away for a very long time, I have certain cultures that I have with my child to really come back and know that, I'm still here for you. I have mommy and me day, for example, that I get to do. So all of that is just for me respecting the seasons. Sometimes there is we need to do this, and we go head on. And then sometimes, I'm around to play hide and seek. I'm around to do all sorts of things. So for me, it's just been that. I'm using my sport.
Wonderful. I think it's a no-brainer to understand that every woman who is actually doing a career or building a business, if you don't have a supportive spouse as well as a support system,
it's either supportive spouse or a supportive system or no system at all. There's no middle ground. It's either you have that support
or you don't have it.
Or you don't. Then you just run as an island.
So what would you advise those people who have none of them? Because they exist, especially as women. They have no spouse, or they have but not supportive. So what would you advise them? Because they still want to thrive, they still want to become who they want to become. So what would you advise them?
Okay, so the thing is, for people who don't have supportive spouses, I mean, I'm not in the best of positions to really advise them, but I think that a lot of times if we begin to see these things as a team sport, I mean, if I'm doing well for myself, and I'm also doing well for the family. It's not that I'm doing well and then I'm competing with you. So sometimes I believe that as women we can find that place we are communicating that and the wisdom to deliver that. I mean, most people would have something that matters to them, connecting that to what matters to them and showing that this won't be a problem in the long run. Sometimes could work. I mean, if that person is not outrightly wicked and out for you.
Exactly. Well done. You've all heard Confidence. She's spoken about her journey. I'm very happy to have her. Confidence, we are so happy to have had you. Thank you so much for all your insight and all the things you have mentioned today. We are happy to have had you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here as well. On your couch.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of Omo's Couch. If you would like to see more inspiring content like this, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. The handle is Omon Odike. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel @Omon.